Hello and welcome back. Welcome to day 2 of Bring All of You to Your Biz Now. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for such a warm and engaging presence yesterday. It was so fun to connect with everyone. I appreciated all the engagement and the likes and the hearts and the comments and the DMs. So thank you so much. It means a lot as a content creator and someone who's passionate about sharing and making your journey easier. It is really night and day when you start to have that connection with people. So super awesome. Wanted to call out a few people. One, Abby, for really being so dedicated to her path. She is a virtual assistant. She's a mompreneur of 2, and she is really dedicated to being a forever learner, but more than that, putting it into action. And so she sent a note that she's carving out an hour every night to do the homework of this challenge. So that means the world to me. And I just get so inspired by somebody that has drive and dedication. So kudos to you. For those of you that still need the support printable, because I will be doing a summary recap every single day that has the journal prompts or sentence stems or whatever the goodness is that you need to put the learning into action. I will compile that all in a PDF. So if you still need that, go ahead and register so you're on my email list to get that. Deb let me know that she really resonated with the progress over perfection message. Linda DM'd me that this challenge came at the perfect time for her to really focus on her business and give it the jump start that she needed. She really needed something to get her head wrapped around her business and where she currently wants to take it. So that is so exciting to hear from you. And our prize winner of yesterday, which is the Cool Self Journal, is Sharon Casano Lockman. Thank you so much to Sharon and to everyone who tagged me and shared an aha moment from day 1. I appreciate it. It spreads the message. It kickstarts inspiration for others who maybe need that little bit of motivation right now, or they're going to hear something very specific that they need to hear that's going to give them that spark of enthusiasm. So congratulations, Sharon. I will mail you your self journal. Stick around today to learn about today's prize. It's a good one. It's going to be made by me, so it's going to have a lot of handmade goodness and love infused in today's prize. So definitely stick around for that. So good morning, Sharon. Yes, you're the winner. I hope you heard that. So congratulations. Your self-journal is going to be in the mail to you this week. And I know that you're a fabulous writer. So this is actually the perfect prize for you because you are always connected to that stream of consciousness where all the goodness is. So enjoy it, my friend. And I hope you enjoy today. Today is all about sharing our story to attract our tribe. So one of the things when we think about any new strategies, we want to be understanding the why behind our action. Why are we doing it? Why are we even thinking about crafting a signature story or sharing on social media? So I want you to be thinking about your why through this training, but then also how it connects to bringing about your authentic personal story to your business, because I know that this is something that's not done. I didn't do it for years. I think many of us keep the struggle silent and wait to just show this ta-da moment. And now more than ever, it is so very important to bring that authentic piece of who you are and also all of those little jigs and jags and layers that brought you to where you are now. People need to hear that. And there needs to be a level of transparency so there isn't this false expectation that success is overnight. So in today's training, I'm going to be sharing the importance of story, the structure of story, because there's a very clear and super simple structure of creating your story, and then how we put that out in the world to attract our tribe. So what is the real kind of return on investment for all of that vulnerable share and things of that nature? So yeah, give me some hearts if that's sounding good to you, some thumbs up if you're gonna dig today's topic. And I wanted to dive in with a little bit of a story snippet from myself, because some of you know me and my story, and others of you may be new to my world. So I'm going to take a few moments to just share a recap of my experience with business. And you will also be able to see a little bit about the ebbs and flow and the navigation of bringing it down into kind of a doable chunk. Because let's face it, we're all like, what, 40, 50, 60? We've spent lots of decades on this planet. And there's a lot of things that we can talk about. So you're going to be able to learn ways to snippet it down and be concise. So let's dive in, and I'll share a little bit about my story. So basically, from a very young age, I always had a very inquisitive mind. Maybe some of you can relate. Give me some thumbs up if you can relate to that. I knew in my body when something didn't feel right or just didn't make sense to me, really as far back as I can remember. And that started to really kind of come about as I got a little bit more in my teens, and I started to question things, big things like religion, the standard American diet, and even allopathic medicine, and like how all of these things were connected and what pieces and parts. I was just kind of scratching my head and really curious to dig in and want more. So all that to say that when you kind of go against the grain, it's not so easy. So I knew from a very young age that some people say black sheep and other people just say kind of like carving your own path. Some say trendsetters, some say going against the grain. But I had that experience from a very young age of like, God, there's got to be something more. The status quo is just not going to cut it for me. I knew I always wanted to continue to grow and learn and improve. So that whole kind of process brought me to meeting my spiritual teacher at 18. And I dropped out of college, much to my parents' chagrin. And I decided to jump in a Geo Metro, which we actually rented on a borrowed credit card. So on my bestie's son's credit card. She was 24 years my senior, for any of you doing the math thinking, wait, how could you do that at 18? And so we borrowed her son's credit card, rented a Geo Metro, and decided that we were going to embark on entrepreneurialism together. A lot of the reasons were so many of the same reasons why I do what I do now, which was freedom and to want a creativity lifestyle. So that was all the way back then too. So we basically, at that time, we were doing a photographic jewelry line. So my bestie was a photographer, I did the designs, and together we made these montages. That was the name of the business, was Montage. And we made these little mini beautiful collaborations of a montage or a collection of different geometric shapes with these pieces of photography, and we made them into wearable art. And we thought we were going to take the world by storm, and we went down the East Coast from Rochester, New York to Naples, Florida is where we ended up. And I went in and out of all of these department stores and tried to sell my wares, knowing nothing. You have to remember, I was 18. I really was sheltered and shy and an introvert. So I was like, what do I have to do? So definitely not something that I like ran out of the gate with excitement going, man, I have the sales persona, because I absolutely didn't. But it was something where it was like, if we're going to do this, we got to step out of the comfort zone and try. So we did that for weeks, and we got one rejection after another, and nobody was that interested. It was probably so obvious how green we were. We didn't have a brochure. We didn't have a business card, right? We had like a little sachet of our jewelry, and we just thought people were going to fall in love with it because we were so passionate and in love with it, and it just didn't happen. So we ended up in Naples, Florida, and our finances were dwindling. Our motivation was dwindling too, really. We just felt like, how could this not have worked for us, And also, I would point out that we thought it was going to work instantaneously. And I think that that's something that many solopreneurs or entrepreneurs feel, is that we want success to happen immediately. And we feel, because we're so passionate about it, that other people are going to gravitate and just automatically be like, yes, like that's going to work. It's going to work. And we need it to work, almost like we needed it to work yesterday. So we found ourselves in Florida with our rental car, and all of our life's possessions in the back of it. And we were sleeping in our car. We were living in the Geo Metro because we just thought we were going to catch our big break and money was going to start coming in, and it didn't. And so we really had to succumb to the fact that we needed to get a regular job. And then this kind of like catch 22 came into place where we needed to get a job. But in order to get a job, we had to have an address on our application or they would not even consider us. And in order to get an address, which you can't use a Geo Metro license plate as your address, we needed to have a job to have income to pay for the rent. So we were in that quandary for a month, living in our Geo Metro for a month. The glove box, I remember, was where I kept all of my bathroom things. That was like my vanity. And let me tell you, like, you really start to realize all the blessings of your traditional life when you start breaking out of the box and, really doing something a little bit different. So we were shifting our parking spot from parking lot to parking lot. We were cleaning up in fast food bathrooms and putting on a happy face and going out and trying to pound the pavement to get a regular job. So long story shorter, McDonald's ended up hiring both of us for the 5 a.m. shift. And so here you have two vegetarians repulsed at the idea of touching meat, let alone selling it on a day-by-day basis. But that's what came to us and that's what we accepted. So we returned the rental car. We had this job at McDonald's together and we would walk to and from work at 4 a.m. in the morning to take that morning shift. And all during that time, and we did that for about 9 months, all during that time, we kept thinking like there's got to be something more. We'll come up with different ideas. Let's just continue to have these creative juices flowing because something has to work. So fast forward that to we relocated back to New York, left our McDonald's job, left our simple apartment, which actually to the day we left was still unfurnished. We had one table that we created from a door that we found at the dumpster that we turned upside down and put legs on it. We had two Rubbermaid chairs and this makeshift table. That was the only furniture that we had. And one of those little foam things that you do for camping was, the beds that we had in our bedroom. So we lived super simply and super meagerly for that 9 months, which actually was not a suffering trip at all, but that's a whole nother story. But from there, we ended up being full-time caregivers for Cher, my best friend's mom, Margie, who had had a car accident and she was pronounced dead on arrival, but she actually did not die. She came back to life and 3 days later had a stroke from the accident with a multitude of physical and emotional and mental problems and became paralyzed. So she needed full-time caregivers. So we took that on together and we were her full-time caregivers. And then it meant that more than ever, we needed to come up with a job that we could do out of our house so we could continue to be her caregivers and not put her in a home, which was really against like both of our spiritual beliefs, really feeling like we wanted to, give back to our elders and not discard them. So all that being said is we continued to come up with one idea after another. We had 9 different business ventures. And let me tell you, every single time we pivoted, it was like, man, maybe this is going to be the thing. Maybe this is going to be the thing. We did everything from exterior house painting to cleaning houses to making candles to continuing making jewelry. We spun off our photographic jewelry idea into a fine gem and watercolor gem and mineral company was what it was called. So gemstones. And then we spun it off into wildfire and created some Native American Indian jewelry pieces. Cher was an artist, so we at one point did fine art at that point. So we had 9 different business ventures in 4 short years. So here's a little side note to that. We never gave it long enough to seed. So we were continually being like, oh, okay, well, let's try that. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's create new business cards. At this point, we were getting really handy with DIYing business cards at Kinko's and really being able to like pull together a brand on a dime. Everything we did was from scratch. In fact, my bestie said if she heard me say we created something from nothing or something from a white piece of paper one more time, she was going to scream, because I always used to say that. Like, I'm getting so excited to create something from nothing, to start from a white piece of paper and to, to draft this potential or this possibility. So we had this running joke because at this point I was getting a little bit burned out. It takes a tremendous amount of time and energy to create one business, let alone continually getting rejection or just making enough to make ends meet, or hoping we had enough money from a fair or festival that we could put our down payments on at other craft shows or fairs or festivals. So we lived in this loop for a while. And we stayed in that same kind of like survival mode for several years, kind of living out of our van and selling wildlife t-shirts at different festivals, the whole thing, like the whole gamut. But there was still this firm belief that something's going to work. We're creative. There's going to be this moment where something's going to click. And we had this joke on the 9th business. I said, okay, I'm willing to do one more business with you, but you have to promise me that if it doesn't work, I'm like, that we go and get a job. Let's go to Home Depot. They have insurance and benefits, and it'll be so exciting to have a paycheck on a consistent basis. And she agreed. So good morning, Debbie. Hey, Melissa. Cool. Okay, awesome. So we decided to create something that was going to be disposable that people needed. So we're like, all right, we tried the whole jewelry thing. We tried crafts. We tried, outside confections with food. And we had some good success with the outside confections with food. We were doing soft pretzels dipped in these kind of fun and different sauces. And we did some caramel lattes and things like that. So we're like, you know what? Let's put together our ideas and love for food, which is something disposable. And we ended up creating a chocolate covered pretzel line, which was super innovative at the time. It was 1994. And we put 2 pretzels together, which had never been done before, dipped them in flavored chocolates, and put a spin on it by using different truffle ideas. So not just a plain chocolate covered pretzel, but we would roll it in Heath Bar or cranberries, or we had a lemon blueberry cream flavor. Like, we ended up creating this beautiful, beautiful handmade line that never had been seen before. And that worked. That hit the sweet spot. Within 3 months, we ended up having to relocate our little handmade business that we started in the basement to a 600 square foot approved manufacturing facility where we ended up having to get employees. We had 120 road reps selling 24/7. So the fax machine, it was fax machines back then, was beeping all the time. And it was like we had finally made it. And from there, we ended up growing and constructing an 8,000 square foot manufacturing facility and hired 25 local women in our small Naples, New York environment in our high season, and started to sell to Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus and American Doll Place and Yankee Candle Company and really big time names. At one point, we were traveling 26 weeks out of the year, selling our wares at upscale gift and gourmet trade shows, and it just started snowballing. We ran that operation for 17 years, and we hit $1.7 million as our top year in sales, and we continued to have 7-figure years. So that whole love for business spun into really wanting to help other female entrepreneurs not make the same mistakes that we had made, to believe in themselves, and to really hunker down into what it takes, the drive, the determination, and most of all, a relentless pursuit of perseverance. I have always said that success is showing up. It's showing up for yourself, and it's showing up day by day. So little by little, day by day, you keep at your dream. And so what I get to do now is so very exciting, which is to bring all of that knowledge. Right now, I've been an entrepreneur for 29 full-time years. And I get to take all of that knowledge, not only from brick and mortar to craft festivals, to online consultations, to digital marketing, everything that I have done in all my iterations and pivots, And I get to package that all up and help other female entrepreneurs, which is so very exciting. So I want you to take a minute here and I want you to think about something. That is my story in a nutshell. Of course, there's lots more layers, but I want you to be able to have a snippet version of your story, and I want you to be able to create a longer version of your story, because we need to be able to pick and pull pieces of our story that are going to help and relate to the person that we're sharing it with. Remember, we're sharing our story to build our tribe, to bring people towards us. This is attraction-based marketing. Why do we share our story? So others can self-identify. So there's a layer of like, oh my gosh, like success didn't happen overnight for her. And if you're currently in a struggle right now, maybe you could relate to something that I shared with you. Maybe you were surprised that I lived in vehicles, right? Maybe you were surprised that it took 9 different businesses over 4 years of rejection before the 10th one took off and we hit 7 figures. Let me know what's surprising you. If you're watching the replay, you can do #replay, but I would love to hear what part of that snippet story that I just shared with you shocked you, made you more interested in learning more, made you think about a piece in your story that maybe you could share, or you've been holding back for sharing for whatever reason. Because this is what's going to make you stand out in a crowded marketplace, because there is no one else that has your story. And I get that question a lot, like, Casey, there's so much competition in my space. Aren't I just going to sound like everybody else? And the answer is no, if you incorporate your story, because you are the only one that has had those life experiences. But we need to communicate those pieces and parts to our fans and our audience. So there is a differentiation factor. Makes a huge, huge difference when it comes to your marketing. Again, it allows people to self-identify. It makes you interesting. It also eliminates any imposter syndrome or any pieces and parts where we're comparing to someone else, because no one can be like you. No one can be like you, because everything you've been through is for a reason. And some of the most successful entrepreneurs actually use their traumas to fuel them to create the treasures that they have right now. Because when you really think about your core values and you think about what you bring to the table now, most often when you look under the hood, it is because you've fallen. It's because you've failed. It's because you've struggled. And out of that, like the ashes, right? We hear that phoenix rising out of the ashes. Out of all of that crap that you went through, you actually became a stronger person, a more radiant person, and a resilient leader. And that is actually what is contributing to your success right now. So I want to give you a very simple structure. I'm also going to create a support printable for you so you can start crafting your signature story in a very simple way. I love Brendon Burchard's method. He breaks it down super simply, so I'm going to share that with you. And it basically is a 3-part story structure that you can use over and over and over again. You can tuck this structure, 1 minute. Ooh, I got like a little splash there. You can tuck this structure into social media posts. You can tuck it in your back pocket for when you're interviewed on podcasts. You can use your longer version for even a signature speech if you want to talk on stages, both virtual stages like summits, and when COVID's lifted, the big time stage, or a TED Talk if that's your dream. One of the key pieces in any successful speaking is to really lean into your signature story and share this 3-part structure, which is kind of like a no-fail way to share. The first part is struggle, the second part is search, and the third part is solution. So it's struggle, search, and solution. So you can jot that down now if you're taking notes. Again, if you're registered, I'm going to be sending you the support printable, because that is your action item today. So to fill that out, and I want you to do 2 different versions, a snippet version, and then a longer version. And you can decide where and when you want to share those pieces. So the first part is struggle. We need to share about where you were. What was your point A in your solopreneur journey? Then the search, right? Because success is not linear. There's not overnight successes, right? So we need to understand the jigs and the jags. We need to understand those pieces, and your pieces may not be as extreme as using a Wendy's bathroom to brush your teeth and change clothes so you can go and get another application out there. It does not have to be as dramatic as accident and incident. Whatever the layers are for you that brought you to where you are right now. Maybe you needed to pull yourself up from the bootstraps and have the moxie to leave your corporate 9 to 5 because it wasn't in alignment with your beliefs anymore. Whatever the layers are that brought you to where you are now, that's the part you want to share. That's the middle body part of your story. That is the search. That's the search. What were you searching for? What was the search like? And really bring in feeling tone. And one of the things I want to really say here, that some of the best storytellers know how to bring themselves back to the moment. Their intonation changes. You can really feel that they're painting a picture because we respond to things that are emotional. So you don't just want to memorize your story to repeat it back on rote. Oh, and then this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, because that's not going to bring about the results. When you can actually get into it as the speaker, you're going to start evoking emotion, and that's where real transformation, that's where attraction comes in, because people can absolutely relate to that story as if they were in it right there with you. And then the third piece of the simple story structure is the solution. So what is your destination right now? We started understanding about the struggle, which was point A. We got the little bit of the journey, which was all the jigs and jags in the middle. But then point B is where you are now. How did all of these layers of your life, your story, your experiences contribute to what you do now? And as a business owner, we want to be able to connect it in to the why of what we're doing now. All of these things contributed, and now we're here. So when you heard my story, you can absolutely see why I'm so passionate about women entrepreneurs believing in themselves, crushing limiting beliefs, learning from rejection, not allowing rejection to define them, but constantly having that creative mind space to say, okay, that didn't work, what next? Okay, how do we reinvent? How do we pivot? How do we recreate? Maybe that we can keep this and that from that piece and have a new iteration of it over here that's going to be more appealing and more attractive. It is that abundance mindset that continues to allow us to grow and lean into who we're meant to be. To get our big dreams, to fulfill our big desires, it definitely takes drive and determination. You're not going to get overnight results, and I never sugarcoat it because I understand after 3 decades of this game, it's a dance. It is an absolute dance. I'm continuing to learn, to grow, to pivot, to refine, and I think that's never going to end. As long as I'm committed to being an entrepreneur and fully showing up for myself and my business, then I'm always going to have failure. I'm always going to have opportunities to grow. And I continue to need to lean into that abundance mindset. And I hope that you're going to be able to do the same. So let me know what your thoughts are. Happy to answer any questions that come up for you in this challenge, really. This challenge to share your story to attract your tribe. We're building know, like, and trust factors. We're letting people into our world. We're embracing vulnerability because people need to see the realness, not the highlight reel on Instagram, but a transparency level of everything that you did and some of the stumbles along the way, and why you're committed now to helping people in your arena to not make those same mistakes, to not fall down the rabbit hole, and to continue pursuing, right? It's a relentless pursuit of your dreams. So super excited to share this with you. Your action step is to complete the template that I'm going to provide for you, which is all about search, struggle, solution. I want you to create a mini version and a longer version of your story. And I also want you to share it on social media because that is the most fun. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a prize for one winner. I'm going to randomly choose a winner that tags me on one of their social medias in their story. And you can just say, hey, I'm taking a challenge with Casey Rossi. The topic today was sharing your story to build your tribe. Here's a snippet of my story. And you can do a short, medium, or long version on any social media platform that you want. This is to help you break out of the comfort zone and get in the habit of letting down the mask, letting people in, and sharing pieces and parts of you that brought you here. The cool part is I'm going to be creating a confidence building essential oil inhaler for you. So the prize today, for those of you that want to break out and push yourself and share your story, remember to tag me so I know how to randomly pull the drawing out. But the cool part is that essential oils have an intimate connection with our limbic system, and they help our emotions. They help us on a holistic level, which means they help us body, mind, and spirit. And the blend that I'm going to personally craft for you is a combination of cardamom, sweet orange, black pepper, and bergamot. And here are some of the reasons why I chose those essential oils. So cardamom clears the mind, creates peace, and helps with worthiness. Now, how many of you need help with that, right? Hand raised. Bergamot is known for its calming nature. It enhances joy and it enhances strength. Black pepper helps us release emotional blockages and it really brings in the courage. And sweet orange is such a happy oil. It improves mood and it's extremely uplifting. So I'm doing a blend of these 4 powerful confidence building essential oils to one winner that steps out of their comfort zone, shares a snippet of their story, and it doesn't have to be long. Don't overwhelm yourself. Remember, progress over perfection. Just use that structure of struggle, search, and solution in your social media post. And remember to tag me on whatever platform you're using, and you can have a chance to win. I'm going to pick one winner. I'm going to announce it tomorrow morning, and we're going to go from there. So I'm really excited to learn about your story. You can also post it on this thread because this is a very safe space in the Women Developing Brilliance Facebook group. So you can dip your toe in, right? You can test it out. You can see what it feels like to speak in the first person and to share layers of your story or journey. It's going to be really powerful. It's a transformational personal development skill to step into this. And so I'm really excited for you to experience it. Tomorrow, my friends, day 3 is all about how to increase visibility. And I can't wait for you to share because as a recovering perfectionist and someone that hid behind the introvert label for years, I have a lot to share with you when it comes from being terrified to press go on Facebook Live for an entire year to having video as a big part of my marketing strategy now and how I book consistent clients. I cannot wait to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed today. DM me, chat in the comments, engage with one another, share your stories, share the love, support one another, and I can't wait to see you next time, which will be tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we'll be joining here again at 11 a.m. in the Women Developing Brilliance Facebook group. So I will see you then. Until then, breathe joy.